Welcome to the Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on the world of cloud computing. Today, my guest is from a company called Loggly. We have the CEO of the company, Charlie Oppenheimer. Charlie, welcome to the show today.
Hi, Rick. Nice to be with you.
Well, thanks, Charlie. I guess let's start at the beginning. I mean, who is Loggly and who do you help?
Yeah. So Loggly is a cloud-based log management service. So the way that we work is that people are running cloud applications, and of course those applications are creating logs. They send those logs to us so that they can instantly be able to analyze and investigate their logs. If you think about logs, logs are really the original big data problem. You know, we're all talking today about big data, but logs were really the first big data problem that we have on the web, and it's getting bigger. As we add more servers and more applications, more users, more devices, more user sessions, anything, whether it's social media or advertising or e-commerce, any kind of growth in the online and cloud world generates more logs, and the amount of data that we're talking about is terabytes and terabytes and petabytes of data, which makes it a very challenging problem to deal with. How do you analyze all of that data? How do you make sense of it? How do you know what's going on with your infrastructure? So who we do this for, next slide. Who we do this for is for people who are building in the cloud. The classic example would be people who are built on Amazon Web Services. And the reason those folks are the target customer for us and why they're so likely to use a service like this is that if you use an infrastructure as a service, cloud service, you're actually revealing some preferences for how you want to do your business. And among those preferences tend to be the notion that you only want to invest in those things that are unique value add in your business. And you prefer to pay as you go, pay for what you use. And in addition, you're very concerned with the idea of being able to have an elastic resource that grows and shrinks, as your needs do. Well, if those are your preferences, to only invest in what's unique and pay as you go, then you're going to tend to look for services to manage your business that also exist in the cloud. And interestingly, as we look at the situation, very few companies believe that doing log management is actually an essential core competence. They need to do it, but they themselves don't feel like they want to be good at that. And the fact that they're using something like Amazon indicates that they'd prefer if they could buy it. So that's really who we're doing it for, people who build in the cloud or people who build for the cloud. So the opportunity here for our company is to provide this turnkey log management as a service. The opportunity is to have a log management service that exists in the cloud for cloud-based applications. So this is a service that has very broad applicability, but the people, not just the companies, but the people in those companies that come to us are really the classic DevOps kind of folks. They're either developers who are looking for a solution to debug and conduct forensics on problems as they occur, and operations teams who are looking for an at-a-glance way to know what's going on. Is the service running well? Is their service degraded? Are there any issues that are popping up? But these DevOps teams, are really combinations of engineering skill sets and operations skill sets in one that are responsible for running a cloud-based business. And both of those are really the users for the Loggly service. So what does it mean to say that we've got log management as a service? Well, okay, there's the obvious part of it, which is we have to collect those logs. And so our service enables customers to get started without downloading or installing any software at all. They can redirect the logs from their applications or from their infrastructure to go directly to us, and they can send it from as many different devices as they want, and they can set up as many different collections, which we call inputs, as they want. And when they send that data to us, they are then able to log into our website at loggly.com, and they can instantly get statistics on what's going on. And the screen that I'm showing here is the basic dashboard that one sees when we come into the application, and it shows the number of events that have been received by hour. It shows the amount of data that's been received over the last 30 days, and it also shows the amount of data in little sprites or amount of data that's been received for each input displayed as little sprites. So this is a completely hosted log management platform. No need to install any software. It's just instead of capturing and analyzing all your logs locally, you're sending them to the cloud. And if you're already hosted on Amazon, then you're not sending the logs very far because our ingestion point is also on Amazon. Now, what kind of data can you send to us? Well, really anything. You can send data from your applications, from your OS, from your network devices, your databases. It doesn't matter what application, it doesn't matter what OS, any of it, and we will index it regardless. So that means that no matter what the format is of the data, we'll allow you to be able to analyze that data instantly on our website. So what this becomes is really a real-time search engine for your IT data. So this is one of the many graphs that can be produced, and this is just looking at a comparison of different kind of events, the counts of them that have been received over a period of time. You could obviously imagine this as looking at error codes. Maybe you want to look at the frequency that you're getting 404s or 503s on your web tier. Here's an easy way to do it. Another popular thing that people will do is they'll often want to compare what was the profile of our infrastructure a week ago to what's the profile today, because we pushed some new code in the last few days, and now we want to see how are we performing this week versus how were we performing last week. And so here's a very simple way to get that kind of information. The features of the product, it's a rich feature set, all available over the web. The obvious things that you can do is you can search. So it's a full text index, text search capability. But you can also do things like create your own dashboards that are configurable. You can graph data. you can take a certain any kind of search and you can save it. So you might have a complex search or a search that you do very frequently. You can save that. You can come back to that. You could use one of those saved searches as your dashboard. We have the ability to do alerting. So you could create a search which is used to detect some condition. And if that condition is true, then you want to be alerted. You're able to do that. We're also able to parse JSON serialized events. And the interesting thing about that is that that's a way to embed into your data the structure of the data. And I've always thought it's kind of funny in the log management world that we received logs and then we try and infer back what the structure of the data was originally. If data is sent to us in JSON format, then you're able to assert that structure up front, and it's maintained throughout the system. You don't only have to use the web interface. We also have a RESTful API. And then finally, while our data is, or the data that you send to us is kept for between 7 and 90 days, depending on what service level you select. For longer periods of storage, you can choose to have us archive all of your data to S3. So sometimes people say, well, why do you offer this as a service? Why not just offer software? Well, it goes back to this notion of people building in the cloud. If you're building in the cloud, you've already said you don't really want to run your own servers. You don't really want to administer your own infrastructure. And so the advantage of getting log management as a service is you don't have any servers that you have to buy or manage or rent. You're not going to allocate engineering time, precious engineering time, to working on keeping a log management cluster healthy. And because this is a big data problem, it's not a set and forget kind of application. So if you run this yourself, you are going to have resources administering it. You don't have any separate bills for hosting, and you just don't have to worry about any part of the infrastructure. It's just a result. You send us data, and then you have that ability to get value out of the data. Now, I think that as you consider your options for a log management service, the reason why Loggly is such a good choice is really underscored by the success that we've had in the market. We have well over 2,500 customers. We're the market share leader in this log management in the cloud category. It's very simple to use. It's scalable. You don't worry about scalability. You just send us the data no matter how much, and this is fast. Within a few seconds of events being received, they are available for analysis, for alerting, for graphing, and so on. Loggly has been around since late 2009. We've grown quite a bit since then. We've got more than $10 million of venture funding from top-tier venture firms. And the core team here is comprised of people from other companies that have experience in both log management and search, like Splunk and Scout Labs and so on. We're happy to be located in downtown San Francisco, which is particularly fun this week because with the Giants in the World Series, every night that the games are played, you can hear the cheers just outside our windows of people downstairs watching the games. Loggly is used by small companies, medium companies, large-sized companies. A lot of well-recognized names rely on Loggly for their log management needs, and this list is growing every day. So I talk to our customers almost every day, and I am always interested in hearing how people are using us and what new capabilities they would like. This was kind of a fun quote to hear recently from one of our customers, PagerDuty. He said, we looked at Splunk and our syslog as potential solutions, and it turns out that using Loggly, we were able to get a higher quality of service and an overall lower cost. Just music to our ears. That's exactly how we're trying to please our customers, and I couldn't say it better myself. So that's a brief introduction to Loggly. We're very excited to be in this business. I can tell you this is the most fun job that I have ever had, and we just look forward to meeting people online and seeing new customers at shows and helping people make sense of their log data.
Well, great. Well, thanks for that, Charlie. I'm curious, what's your background? What were you doing before Loggly?
Yeah. So, I've been CEO of several different venture-backed companies. One of them was a shopping management infrastructure company called Aptivia, and that was purchased by Yahoo, and that's some years back, but they ended up building Yahoo Shopping on top of that. Then I was CEO of Digital Fountain, which was a video delivery software and services company. That company was acquired by Qualcomm a few years back. And then, early in my background, I spent almost 9 years at Apple. And so, for me, I look at Loggly as the combination of so many of the things I've done. On the one hand, this is a hardcore IT and big data kind of company, which relates well to several things I've done before. But at the same time, I'm very, very conscious of making this an incredibly easy-to-use service, and that really reflects my Apple background.
Oh, terrific. So, Charlie, how were these customers getting this job done before Loggly, or were they not even doing it at all?
Yeah, so, the first way that people manage their logs when they're getting started is, logs are just written as files. And, if you have a handful of servers, when there's an issue or when you're looking to assess what's going on, you can just SSH into one of the machines and you can take a look at the log files directly. And that works. The problem comes when you start adding servers. If you've got a couple of dozen servers or a few hundred or thousands of servers, the idea of logging into each individual machine to examine their logs, quickly becomes impractical. And so the answer is that, when people have a small operation, they can do it, in a manual kind of method. But as things get bigger, what they're really looking for is a way to consolidate all of the logs in one place and then be able to search across their servers and application tiers, in one place.
So, Charlie, what does this data look like? Is it just ASCII files that just record any event that the server comes across, or is it more structured than that?
Yeah, Rick, it's funny. Well, log files have every configuration and format that you could imagine. Some of them are structured in some pretty well understood formats, like if you look at an Apache log, you could immediately spot data items that look familiar. You'd see the IP address of the server itself. If you'd see the requester and the requested URL, and you'll see a response code. So you can kind of visually parse those things yourselves. But other logs are coming directly out of an application, and the format of that log is whatever the developer of the application decided they wanted to do. The only common thread here is that logs do tend to be text files or text strings. They're not always files. There are some binary formats that some folks have done, but that hasn't become really popular yet. It probably will become more popular over time, but generally logs are just text, and they have well understood data items in them, but you got to tease them apart.
Yeah. And then I guess kind of a wrap-up question here, Charlie. When I was wondering if you could share like some aha moments that maybe your customers have talked to you about, things they've learned that they never expected because they were able to look at it through Loggly.
Well, actually, I did speak about it earlier, but I think it's a really good example. So one of our customers, was telling us that they push new code to their site every week, and they said, the first question that we ask when we push new code is, did we break anything? Has performance changed? And so the thing that we always do, and the reason why the abstraction of a graph is so important, is because what we can do is we can look at what things looked like before we push the code, and then we can look after. And it's being able to make that comparison that gives us the understanding about what's different, what has improved or what is degraded. Another one. This is an interesting use case that I never would have thought of. But one customer, actually a travel site, and they explained that they have searches that are being done for more than 200 airlines. And then people will click on those and look to make reservations. And they said that one of the things we need to look for is if the number of reservations for a particular airline suddenly goes down or goes to zero. That's a good clue that something about our linkage with that airline is broken. And so here's a case where the customer is saying, what I'm actually looking for is the absence of certain events. In most cases you think of, I'm looking for something. Here's a case where someone is saying, I actually want to see if I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, well, Charlie, I mean, if our listeners have perked up their ears about this, is there a way to kick the tires and try Loggly out? How does that work?
Yeah, so we offer a free 30-day trial. You can set up an account in 2 minutes, and it's immediately active. So try it out, and I think we tend to be pretty successful at proving out our value during the trial period, and it doesn't cost anything.
Oh, terrific. Well, Charlie Oppenheimer, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show today.
Rick, thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Okay, folks, that's it for the Rich Report. Stay tuned for more news and information on cloud computing.